It's rainy and muggy. Two bad combinations. I'm drinking this hot ass tea on this muggy ass day. But it's so delicious. I don't know where this came from, but I know that I have to be led to share it. So we all have an abandonment wound. And this could have stemmed from childhood or even recently. But this is why we try to fill up voids and chase after things that we think will bring us fulfillment, because we don't have a sense of safety within spirit. So on today, we're going to get in depth in understanding why is it that we have an abandonment wound and why we try to chase things to fill it, and how we could bring about a sense of safety within spirit in order to feel safe within ourselves. Oh yeah. It's Friday, but every day is a blessing, so we should feel this good every single motherfucking day. What is going on, you beautiful beings? Welcome back on Embracing the Ascension series with your homegirl, Brittany Fontanes. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. On this channel, I speak about spirituality with compassion, emotional awareness with love, and I do guided readings on each zodiac sign, and I talk about things that need to be talked about that aren't talked about in this world, because it's our divine right to know more than what we have been told. Now, I don't know where this came from, booze, but my spirit is leading me to share this deep concept, and that is the abandonment wound. Now, this ripples into a lot of area of our lives. And the reason why I feel that this should be shared is because we are all still living in survival mode, and living in this mode all the time is the reason why stress is the biggest killer on today's planet, is because we're rooted in always fight or flight mode. When our body is always in fight or flight mode, that survival instinct is always on, and that survival stems from fear. Hence, like when an animal, they're animalistic, so they have to survive, so they have to go out and get their own food, and they have to be careful if they're not going to get attacked, you know? That's how we act within our human conditionings, because we believe we always got to be on edge and worry about our survival. But living this way and living in fear, this is why we don't have enough clarity. This is why we don't have enough co-creators in the world, because we allow fear to rule over our internal love that gives us our sense of safety. Now, you're wondering, where would I mean your abandonment wound lies in your life? Well, think about this. If you had parents that were emotionally unavailable, you probably grew up and you attract relationships that people were emotionally unavailable. So you felt abandoned. You felt like you're not seen and you're not heard and you're not felt. You probably had parents that made it seem like your feelings don't matter. So you grew up attracting people who don't care about how you feel. That's another way of abandonment wound. Even by little things like us always striving and working and being in that workaholic mode. It's just like, I gotta get this done because I have to have this. I need to see this. I need to be successful so I can be heard. I could be seen. That's another way that could be an abandonment wound, because maybe you were always there for people, but people weren't always there for you. So you have to always seek a sense of validation, you know? Or other ways this could stem from is you over analyzing certain situations and taking them so personally, and then you get so anxious if people like you or not. And then you become codependent. That's another way an abandonment wound can happen. Or something so little like your parent leaving you at a grocery store, leaving you in the aisle, and they forgot you for a second. Or you have a parent at a very young age that was sarcastic, but you weren't ready for that sense of humor as a young age, and they told you, oh, I'm gonna leave you here, and then you go crazy. You're just like, no, don't leave me. You know, that's another way of abandonment wound. Or even when it comes to success, when you don't seek that validation, it's like you doubt yourself, you get down on yourself, you define your worth based on if you are accepted or not. And if we get rejected, we think something's wrong with us. You know, that's another way an abandonment wound could happen. But all of these little subtle subconscious beliefs rule our conscious way of being. This is why shadow work is so important, because we see the parts of ourselves that we run away from, that we don't like, when that part of us is the other half of our power, our sovereignty, our truth. This is why there's no such thing as perfection. This is why the natural way of life, hence how we were born, how we look, is perfect as it is. But we forget that because we define ourselves by what we don't have rather than who we are. So how does this stem from not having any sense of safety? Well, sense of safety and spirit. The reason why it's so important to have a sense of safety and spirit is because, one, you got to understand we're a human being, have a temporary experience. Let me take that back. We are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. We have been taught to believe that we're so rooted in this physicality and that's all we are, because that's the easy way for us to forget our power. But I'm here to tell you the truth. We're not just human. We're a sovereign, divine being that has every right to live the way that you desire to live and to believe in what you want to believe in. But the reason why we get so caught up and take life so seriously in this human essence is because we deem that this is true. This is real. This reality is real. It's really not. Like the same thing with belief. You could change your beliefs. If you look at the word belief, it has the word lie in it. People tell themselves a story to believe in order to define who they are. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you change your beliefs in order to be who you want to be. But the reason why we don't want to face these truths within ourselves to make us feel fulfilled and whole without needing anything is because it's too painful to believe that it's too painful to face the fact that we do feel empty. A lot of us don't want to face that wound because it's hard to face that one. It's hard to face the truth that, yeah, I had parents that weren't there for me. Yeah, I had people who didn't have the good intentions for me. Yeah, I strive to seek validation because I'm desperate to be seen, because I just want to be known for who I am, because I know that I am a good person and I have so much to offer, you know? So, of course, it's okay to be oblivious to this, because we all have been taught to be oblivious to life. This is why we live in autopilot and survival mode. But the thing is, when we continue to live that way, we continue to blame, and therefore we think we don't have control when we really do. As a young child, maybe we didn't have control over how our parents treated us or the abuse we had to deal with. But as we get older, we can't hold on to that to the point we think we don't have any power when we really do. So why this is important to know in order to create a sense of safety and spirit is because your spirit, your heart, is all that you have. You're going to live with that for the rest of this lifetime and for the rest of the lifetimes to come. So you have to understand that we're not from this world. We just live in it. So we got to find a sense of safety within ourselves. You know, majority of empaths are people who have an abandonment wound. We abandon ourselves. This is why we seek things outside of us to fulfill us, because we have abandoned ourselves. Because that pain that comes from that abandonment wound stems from the inner child, that little version of you that was so scared of that feeling, of that thought of thinking that you won't have what makes you think fulfills you. You get so scared, you get so anxious to the point that it's like you had to adjust yourself to how your parents feel or how people feel so you could tiptoe around and make sure you don't cause any conflict because you thought something was wrong with you. But here's the thing. When you can go within and feel those feelings, that at a young age, we abandon ourselves. And as we get older, we continue to abandon ourselves when we become people pleasers. And that's what happens with abandonment wound. We become people pleasers, we become self-sacrificers, and we neglect and abandon ourselves the way that we felt abandoned at a young age. So we relive that because it felt comfortable. It feels like this is true. This is the reality because you grew up defining yourself by how your parents treated you. And one thing I want to share with you is that how your parents treated you is their bullshit. It's not yours. So You created a meaning of how they treated you because you thought there was something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Your parents' shit is their shit. You don't have to hold on to that burden. But at a young age, we hold on to that burden and we abandon ourselves, meaning that we literally leave our body. We literally leave the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus chakra, which is where our action takes place, which is where our groundedness is, which is where we feel I am. This is who I am, you know? And then we get so rooted in our third eye to the point that our survival is based off others. Our survival is based off how others think of us and feel of us. Because we're always in our third eye and we're in tune with other people, but we're not in tune with ourselves. I hope that makes sense. So it's like we abandon our bodies and we don't feel what we want to feel that is in our body. This is why we're always in our mind, because we don't want to be rooted in here, because we don't feel safe. We don't feel safe because we still have those emotions and that energy from that little version of you that's still holding on to that burden of that abandonment wound and that belief. And this is why we don't have a sense of safety within ourselves. And this is why we don't have a sense of faith in the unknown and in spirit that really is all around us and within everything, because in order for things to be physical, it has to be non-physical first. So the way to find a sense of safety within spirit is understanding that you have to come back home to you. You have to come back into your body. The reason why a majority of us have troubles meditating is because we think we have to control our thoughts, when really all we have to do is observe our emotions and our thoughts and be present within our body and to feel what we want to feel. But we don't want to feel what we want to feel. This is why we get so anxious, because we're not used to feeling that pain. We're not used to going within the depths of our psyche and really discovering why we are the way that we are. So the way to have that sense of safety is come back home to you. This is why the present moment is so precious. And this is why they tell us be in the present, because this is where you are. When you're always in your mind and always distributing your energy outwards, you're abandoning yourself. It's time to stop abandoning yourself, because when you become still, that's where God is. God is in stillness. And where God is where you are, which is where your love is, which is where your truth is, which is where your power is. When you can choose to be present within yourself, you're choosing to take responsibility of your emotional intelligence, to the point that instead of reacting and going out and always being in survival mode and being defensive or offensive, instead you become present in your body and being aware of how you feel and how you think. And with that discernment, you can actually build, excuse the background noise, you can actually build an eternal foundation where you feel that you trust yourself, you trust your body, you trust this vessel, you adore it and you love it. And the way to know that you feel a sense of safety within your own being and within spirit is that you take care of yourself. You love yourself, meaning that you take yourself out on dates. You cry when you need to cry. You do the mirror work. You look in the mirror and try to make sense of what doesn't make sense so you can learn to love it. You don't demonize yourself. You talk good things about yourself. You eat well. You know, these are little subtle signs to show you how you interact and connect with yourself. And that shows you how you connect with spirit. So the way to find a sense of safety in spirit is understanding that there's more than yourself. There's more than this world. And what that more is the actual love that created this world, not the society that tells us this is what we need to do. So that is the best way to find a sense of safety within spirit and within yourself, is come back home to you. Feel into your body. Don't define yourself by your feelings and your thoughts. Observe them. The reason why we feel guilty when we try to put a self-defense mechanism or self-sabotaging with resistance, meaning that when you know you don't want to drink, you know you don't want to smoke, you know you don't want to act out, you know that you don't want to replay that wound, but it's like you take that substance or you chase after those things and you don't want to do it, but you do it anyways because your body is comfortable doing that. You have to learn to not get comfortable with the uncomfortable only, but you have to learn, why is it that your body feels the way that it is? Your vessel signals to you when you try to chase or reach out to things, it really wants you to come back home to you. That temptation, that eagerness, is just Yeah, it is your ego, but it's really your soul, your body telling you, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling. And when you feel that anxiousness of trying to reach out for something to fulfill you, that eagerness is your soul telling you, no, come back home to me. Feel safe within me. Get to know me so I can give you this sense of protection. We have polarities within us, feminine and masculine. The masculine is meant to be the safety container for the feminine. And the feminine is the emotions for her to express thyself fully. So if we don't have a sense of safety within ourselves, then that means our masculine side doesn't feel comfort within being in this vessel. And this is why we are not in our emotions, because the feminine doesn't feel safe within herself, within her own masculine. And this is why we try to seek comfort or fulfillment within things outside of us, because we don't have a sense of safety within our own spirit, within our own self. But the way to do that is give up running away. Stop running away. Feel what you feel. Feel what your body is holding on to, because when you can feel, you can heal. And when you can heal, you can learn how to understand that you're not alone. And you could trust that, wow, Spirit has been bringing me back home to myself all along, showing me how to love myself. And therefore, you can really connect with your spirit guides, with your ancestors, with Spirit itself. So come back home to you and find a sense of safety within that rather than the outside world. And when you can find safety and stillness within yourself, oh, let me tell you, a lot of people think they gain stuff from meditation. You don't gain anything. The best thing about meditation is that you lose anxiety, fear, anger, depression, sadness. So that's the whole point of meditation and coming back home to you, is that you feel what you need to feel, observe it. And when you could observe it, you could realize, damn, this is how I think, this is how I feel. Now, how do I really want to think and feel? And then you could transmute that energy into something that's more optimistic, more of an opportunity to really embody a new belief and a new way of being. So, you guys, that is my whole spiel on having sense of safety within spirit rather within this world. Because understand, we live in this world, but we're not of this world. So never forget your power in healing yourself. Never forget your power in coming home to you. And realize, yes, we're connected to everything, but we are our own individual. So we need to understand our own individuality and honor that by honoring our vessel and feeling what we're feeling, because only we can help ourselves. And only we can create our own happiness. And the way to do so is coming back home to your own internal love. But other than that, my beautiful beings, if you enjoyed spending your time with me here today and that gave you some clarity, please let me know your feedback in the comment section below. And also, if you did enjoy your time here, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Other than that, if you want to book your own healing session and want to get on the path to understanding yourself more, all of my services are in the link in the description below this video. But other than that, you beautiful beings, I adore you. I love you. And until then, I'll see you on the next one. Namaste.